Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Here we are, two of us today. Gaynor's missing today. Can never seem
Can
to
you
get
not find
everyone
her?
together in the summer.
She's missing.
Yeah, Mike's been missing. Now Mike comes back. Now Gaynor's missing.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's just me and you today. Yeah. Why these countries drive on the left? Surprising history.
I'd find it difficult to drive on the right.
I've drove in countries on both sides.
Yeah.
Drove in some mad places as well, like France. Paris is crazy at driving.
Did you go down round that roundabout?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, you got it, haven't you? You just got to drive. Drove in New York City. That's an experience. Try to realise that you're 2 blocks away and you need to turn right.
It was annoying me just being in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't mind driving anywhere. It's probably one of the only places I don't like driving.
You'd get used to it pretty quickly, really, wouldn't you?
It's just the other drivers you got to be careful for because they have their set ways of doing it, and you're new to it, so you just have to be careful.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes getting used to it coming out of airports and stuff, making a left turn, right turn.
There is way more that drive on the right, though, isn't there? Like most countries drive on the
I
right.
think most countries probably drive on the right.
I only think there's a few that drive
probably
on the left.
Commonwealth countries. Yeah,
but Canada doesn't drive on the left, does it?
I think they do.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think maybe they.
How do they cross the border?
Nah, they can't do it because when they're crossing the border, it'll be like
like zigzags and all that.
It'll be straight over and then straight onto the other side.
Yeah.
But there's the border crossings. I guess these places when we drive over here, get on the train, and then next thing you're in.
Yeah, but that's different because you're
France.
just coming off a boat and not like straight through the road.
Yeah, but people always say, "How do you remember to drive on the left?" And I always say there's a phrase to it: "Left is right over here. Left is right, and right is wrong." Yeah. But let's get into this. Why these countries drive on the left? I'd like to know as well, because I don't know why.
No. Yeah.
Let's go.
If you've ever travelled internationally, you may have noticed one of the most puzzling differences between countries: which side of the road they drive on. In some places, drivers stick to the right. In others, it's the left. But why does this difference exist, and how did it come to be? This seemingly simple question leads to a fascinating journey through history, culture, and practicality. In today's video, we're diving into why some countries drive on the left, uncovering the historical events, cultural decisions, and practical factors that shaped modern road rules. If you're fascinated by how technology and innovation are transforming the automotive world, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more insights. Let's dive in. The ancient origins of left-side travel. The history of left-side driving goes back much farther than you might expect. Long before cars or even roads existed as we know them today, in ancient societies, people travelled on horseback or in carts, and the choice of which side to favour often depended on practical concerns. In the Roman Empire, for example, evidence from ancient roadways suggests that people commonly travelled on the left. Archaeological finds, such as wheel ruts on roads near Roman quarries, show patterns consistent with left-side travel. The reasoning was likely practical. Most people are right-handed, and travelling on the left allows riders or soldiers to keep their sword hand free to defend themselves or greet approaching travellers.
That makes sense.
This tradition of left-side travel likely persisted.
It was like jousting as well, wouldn't it?
If I was like on the left side, I don't think it would be so awkward with my right hand using the gear stick.
No, you meant left side travel means driving on the left side of the road, not the left side of the car.
No, I know.
Yeah, but you're talking about if you sit on the left side of the car.
Yeah.
It'd be awkward to drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if you're on the right side of the road, you sit on the left side, don't you?
Yeah, there's many times where I've been driving, say, in the USA, and I've come back to the UK, and I've gone from a left-hand drive to a right-hand drive, and I've gone to change gear and hit the door. You know what I mean? I've just sort of like gone like that and banging the door when I realised I should have gone to the left.
Something else as well, in America, you know how like when you use staircases up here, it's like keep left, keep to the left.
Yeah.
Do you reckon when places that they drive on the right, do you reckon they keep to the right?
Keep to the right, I guess they would, because it's like, what's it? But I'm thinking more now, when you think about jousting on a horse, don't you go down with your big jousting stick and all that, you're always on the left, aren't you? And then joust with the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's the thing as well. I was just getting that from when I seen him on a horse there.
In Europe and other parts of the world where Roman influence was strong. However, as history shows, these conventions were not set in stone and evolved dramatically over time. The influence of medieval Europe. In medieval Europe, left-side travel remained the norm, particularly for knights and horseback riders. The logic was the same as in Roman times, keeping the right hand free for swordplay or greetings. Roads were often narrow, so passing on the left reduced the risk of accidental collisions or confrontations. Interestingly, some of these customs were formalized as early as the 1300s. For example, in 1300, Pope Boniface VIII declared that pilgrims visiting Rome should keep to the left side of the road. This decree, while religious in origin, further solidified the left-side driving tradition in parts of Europe. As societies advanced and carriages replaced horseback travel, these conventions remained practical. However, the rise of trade and industrialization in the 18th and 19th centuries began to challenge these norms, creating the conditions for a shift. The shift to right-side driving in continental Europe. The large-scale shift from left-side to right-side driving is most closely associated with the influence of France and later the United States. This transition wasn't merely a cultural preference, it was deeply tied to historical events and the rise of new powers. In France, the shift began during the French Revolution. Before this period, the aristocracy favoured left-side travel, while commoners typically stuck to the right to avoid crossing paths with nobles. After the revolution, left-side travel became associated with the old regime. To symbolise equality and break from the past, revolutionary leaders encouraged right-side travel. Napoleon Bonaparte further cemented this change. As he expanded his empire across Europe, he imposed right-side driving in the territories he conquered. Countries under Napoleonic influence, including Belgium, the Netherlands and parts of Germany, adopted this rule. Meanwhile, countries like Britain and its colonies, which resisted Napoleon, retained left-side driving, creating a split that persists to this day. The role of the United States in popularizing right-side driving. The United States played a significant role in spreading right-side driving, particularly during the rise of automobiles. In the early days of horse-drawn carriages, American drivers often kept to the left. However, as larger freight wagons pulled by teams of horses became common, drivers began sitting on the left side of the wagon to better control their horses with the dominant right hand. To avoid collisions, they steered their wagons on the right side of the road, making it easier to pass oncoming traffic. This practice carried over to the automotive age. By the early 20th century, most American states had formalized right-side driving as the standard. With the global influence of American automakers like Ford, right-side driving became increasingly common worldwide. Many countries that imported American cars also adopted right-side driving to match the design of vehicles with left-hand steering wheels. Why Britain and its former colonies drive on the left? While much of the world shifted to the right, Britain held firmly to its left-side tradition. This choice was not only a matter of practicality, but also tied to national identity and colonial influence. The British Empire, at its height, spanned continents. As a result, left-side driving became the standard in many British colonies, including India, Australia, South Africa, and parts of Southeast Asia. Even after gaining independence, many of these countries retained left-side driving, partly because of the infrastructure and vehicles already designed for it. In the UK, left-side driving was formalised with the Highway Act of 1835, which made it a legal requirement. Over time, this standard became deeply ingrained in British culture, further distinguishing it from continental Europe and the United States. Global divide. Who drives on which side today? Today, approximately 65% of the world's population drives on the right side of the road, while the remaining 35% sticks to the left.
I thought it'd be more.
Countries driving on the left are concentrated in former British colonies, along with a few outliers like Japan and Thailand. Japan's adoption of left...
If India's driving on the left there, that's bumping up the numbers of percentage.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. But I don't know. I wonder if there's if anyone's ever done any I remember I think it was like UPS or someone like that did a study of if they made more right turns in their vehicles when they were doing deliveries, they used less fuel.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was UPS or someone might know what I'm talking about.
I feel like I turn left so much more often than I turn right on the road, though.
Yeah, I try and avoid turning right over here. Because you're crossing the road, you're crossing the carriageway, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So it's like, so I'll sometimes go round a little bit if it means me being on the same side of the road if I'm coming up to a busy junction. Yeah. If I know a junction backs up because of a right turn, I'll avoid it. Sort of thing, and go left and try and pick it up somewhere where there's either a light or something like that.
Yeah.
Left-side driving is particularly interesting as it wasn't directly influenced by British colonisation. Instead, it traces back to the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, when samurai followed left-side travel to maintain their sword hand on the passing side. Later, during the Meiji era, Japan collaborated with British engineers to develop its railway system, solidifying left-side travel as the national standard. Switching sides. How and why some countries changed.
That must be a ball ache.
Yeah, because Ireland Ireland are in the EU,
Yeah.
and we're not, as they're part of Great Britain. It's Ireland are going to change, and they're going to trial it by doing cars and motorcycles first, and if that works, then they're going to move all the trucks and buses.
What?
It was an Ireland joke.
Several countries have transitioned from left-side to right-side driving, often for practical or political reasons. One notable example is Sweden, which made the switch on September 3rd, 1967,
Look
in
at
what is
that.
now
Chaos.
called H-Day. At the time, Sweden drove on the left, but most neighbouring countries, including Norway and Finland, drove on the right. To improve road safety and streamline cross-border traffic, Sweden decided to switch. The transition was a massive logistical challenge. Roads, signs and vehicles had to be adjusted, and extensive public education campaigns were launched to prepare drivers. On the day of the switch, traffic was temporarily halted, and drivers were instructed to move from the left to the right side of the road at a designated time. Remarkably, the transition went
Wow.
smoothly, with few accidents reported. Other countries like Ghana and Nigeria switched to right-side driving in the mid-20th century to align with neighbouring nations and facilitate trade. Practical implications of driving on different sides. Driving on the left or right side of the road has practical implications for vehicle design, infrastructure and travel. For example, cars in left-side countries have the driver's seat on the right, while those in right-side countries have it on the left. This design ensures better visibility and control, especially when overtaking or navigating intersections. When travelling internationally, adjusting to the opposite side of the road can be challenging for drivers. Roundabouts, merging lanes and pedestrian crossings can feel counterintuitive, leading to a higher risk of accidents. This is why rental car agencies in countries with opposite driving standards often provide additional guidance for tourists. The future of road rules. As the world becomes more interconnected, will we ever see a universal standard for which side of the road to drive on?
I doubt
While
it.
it's unlikely that any country would switch sides in the modern era due to the logistical and financial challenges, emerging technologies like autonomous vehicles could potentially bridge the gap. Self-driving cars equipped with advanced sensors and AI can easily adapt to different road rules, making the distinction between left and right less relevant for travellers. Additionally, global navigation systems and infrastructure advancements may further reduce the impact of these differences on international travel. The divide between left-side and right-side driving is more than just a quirk of geography. It's a story of history, culture and practicality. From ancient Rome to the rise of Napoleon, the decisions made centuries ago continue to shape how we navigate the roads today. While the global divide remains, it serves as a reminder of the fascinating ways in which history and tradition influence our modern lives.
True.
What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think the world should adopt a single driving standard, or is the divide part of what makes travel interesting?
Yeah, I think it's a talking point as well when you try. It's a lot of people. I know a lot of people that come to this country from a foreign country that drives on the left and say, or drives on the right and say, can't do it. Tried many times, especially one of the more
You
challenging
just do
features.
the opposite though.
You do. I mean,
I think
that's.
you'd pick it up quick.
I can tend to follow people if that's the case. Like I'll watch them first and then sort of
They're
think,
looking
right
in the
now I've
mirror
got
like,
it.
why is this guy following me?
No, I don't follow them. And sort of like follow like their line.
Yeah.
If you're going the same way. But what you find over here is when people come over here as tourists, first thing they say is the roads are too narrow. For me to get my head around it, and they are. When you go to like the USA, for example, the roads are quite wide, a lot of space. There's a lot of there's a lot of quieter roads. Let's say I know people always say there's loads of traffic in the USA. I get that, but you drive through Idaho at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no one on the roads, right? You drive through London, or you drive through from Manchester to London at 3 o'clock in the morning. I guarantee there's trucks everywhere. The whole route.
You're pretty much driving the whole country.
Yeah, and it's just busy all the time, and it's there's no quiet. So you get, and the quiet ones are country lanes.
Yeah.
And they're tiny. You can sometimes only get one car down there, and you have to pull into like little lay-bys.
And they're like 60
They're 60 miles an hour as well, yeah, which is a bit manic.
But at the
with
same
full
time,
beam on as well.
Yeah, I don't think it would actually be possible for England to change to a right-hand drive these days.
I think you mentioned something that was quite interesting, which is the autonomous cars, the self-driving cars.
Yeah.
And I think they may be something that could take something to drive in all formations.
But
you know what I mean,
it's always been like there'll be destinations you probably couldn't even get to if it's right-hand drive.
Yeah, they'd have to change. That's what I'm saying. They'd have to change. After the infrastructure would have to change dramatically. They'd also sort of like to change it all about. But it'd be carnage over here. Imagine going through like York City, the city centre of York, on changing from right to left. It'd be like just nothing be happening. It'd be carnage.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah, it just wouldn't at all. No, but it's interesting, though, that it goes all the way back to 1300s or whatever it was, wasn't it? Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.